Hey everyone, Toxic Crypto here. Happy Wednesday, happy D-Day. I hope everyone takes a moment to reflect on just how significant this day is in history. Operation Overlord. Remember the fallen on whichever side you may have been on. Family tree goes back. Pretty important day in World War II. As we reflect on D-Day, June 6th, we also can reflect on D-Day, June 6, 2018. We are looking at BitMEX, Bitcoin USD, and we were looking at what was going to happen. Finally, we've been waiting so long for June 6th to arrive. The 6th has either been the top or the bottom in the market cycle dating back in Bitcoin all the way since February, okay? With the bottom here in February, and then March 6th being the short-term top, and then coming back down. April 6th was a bottom, all the way to May 6th was a top. Well, we didn't really follow that today, right? We didn't follow it this time. We didn't continue lower. We held higher at the end of May, and we drifted higher. And what did we have? We had some fundamental news that came out at the end of May. We had the Italy issue. Okay, we had the Italy issue at the end of May. Now we're looking at CNBC. This is the 10-year Italy government bond. As you see, all throughout May, we started to get the interest rate move up in bonds, meaning if you're going to buy government debt, they wanted more money for the risk of holding that debt. And there's an article out there that said that the risk of Italian default jumped 20%. Pretty dramatic. Okay, so with the rise of the interest rate on the Italian bonds, it's pretty much been said that's why we got that rise in Bitcoin. Also, we were oversold. We had some technical bull breaks, and so we didn't get the June 6th low. We drifted higher, and now we're at June 6th. We're under all moving average, all long-term moving averages, all big ones. All right, and if we actually look at the yellow is the 50-day, and the red, they're kissing each other right now. In fact, we did get a 50-day cross above the 100-day today. We'll see if that becomes anything. We did get a cross, but we're still below it. So I say that's one good thing that's happened, but it's it's barely crossing. So we do need some follow through. It's something we've been waiting for and watching, and it happened on D-Day, June 6th. So is that going to be it? Did we have this moderate pullback, a fake out after we broke down out of this rising wedge, scared out a lot of people, blew out a lot of stops, and let's go on a shorter time frame. We fell out of this high and tight on June 3rd. This bull flag we had, and we broke out of that rising wedge right here. We had this sustained downtrend for a day and a half, and then we had a very tradable gap right here yesterday morning. And then we traded sideways all day long, which was fantastic. I got really excited, but again, we were getting some resistance up here around 76.40, 76.50. We just couldn't make it through it. And then right around 12:30, we got some pretty big volume, as you can see, it came off. We still held the breakout from the previous day. We held most of that move. And then right around the end of the day, we got some big volume come back in, shoot us back above, squeezed a whole lot of shorts, as you can see. And geez, they just re-shorted it again. Pretty incredible what just happened. This is on Bitfinex. This tracks shorts, so it's not completely related to what the BitMEX chart is, but you can kind of tell that the shorts just got squeezed. As you see, the amount of shorts decreased, so they had to buy their positions back, so they hit their limits and caused the price to go up. We then broke above the entire price consolidation in the bull flag, you could call it, up here from all yesterday with that squeeze, and now we're holding higher. We're holding this move, and who knows what's going to happen at this point. But why did this move happen, and why did this move happen? Well, I started with the Italian bonds because today I noticed First off, there was a lot of bullish news in Bitcoin today, which I'm going to cover very quickly and shortly here. But I noticed something in the 10-year bonds where we were continually getting an uptick in the interest rate, the yields, okay? And right around 12 o'clock, we stopped going up and we started to decrease. What happened here? Right after 12 o'clock, it looked like we were just going to go to the moon right here. We couldn't get above that. Instead, we sold. We got the interest rate started to come down, and it didn't start to flatten out until about 1:30. Well, we flattened out about 1:30. They took out some more stops, came back up, and as soon as we went back above the 75.35, it was a long, but that really wasn't a technical move. This was a lot of volume that came in here. So more of a news release, more so than a technical break. If anything, I think this was Italy related. I don't think this was trying to get shorts to add to their positions, because longs were adding to their positions during that move. As you can see, this is today. This is leverage longs on Bitfinex. They added into that move down, and then they added again this evening after the regular markets closed. As you can see, the last day and a half, the leverage longs have put on about 8% more to the long side. And it looks like we're trying to break out, or in the process of breaking out, of this pattern we've been in for the last several weeks on leverage longs, and maybe we're going to get some real juice come in on the long side. That might happen. I mean, you can tell here, I actually haven't seen leverage longs be up 1,600 in a very, very long time in on trading view. That's a big number. We'll see what we're gonna make of that, right? I'm not sure what to make of that. I don't think I've ever seen a number that high. So I don't know if that's FOMO. I don't know if big investors just decided they were going in, but that's kind of where we're at with Bitcoin today. This is the daily. We were waiting for the June 6th. We had that rollover. They hit them down pretty hard. We reversed. We held higher and we moved higher, and we're above yesterday's high, I believe. Yesterday's high was 76.70. Yeah, we're flirting with it right now. We did squeeze through it a little bit, and we're sitting at yesterday's high, and we're about to make a move before it, so above it. So, and there it is right there, actually. We're sitting at yesterday's high. So very bullish indeed. And I think we're going to get continuation. And guys, maybe that was it. And again, hey guys, this is entertainment value. This is my personal opinion. This is not financial advice. Do your own research, make your own decisions. All of that good stuff. Remember that. Consult your financial advisor. Think before you act. Don't invest too much that you can't afford to lose. So we talked about the Italian bonds. Okay, a couple other things happened this week. There was a Putin interview this week, I believe, with the Austrians, and it got pretty heated. If you want to check it out, go to Zero Hedge or go to RT and check out the interview. But they started talking about Soros, and something pretty interesting that Putin came up with was, there is maybe someone inside Russia who's Russian does something that Putin claims to disagree with, and he names that person. I'd never heard of him before. Maybe it's Prigozhin. I'm not sure who that is, and it has online activities. And suddenly Russia gets blamed for that. Putin makes the argument, well, what about Soros? He seems to be a popular leader in the left, and Putin was just making the argument that there's double standards going on in meddling in affairs, and there are, quote, rumors circulating now that Mr. Soros is planning to make the euro highly volatile, that he was quoted. And he said, ask the U.S. State Department why he is doing this. And the State Department will say that it has nothing to do with him. Rather, it's Mr. Soros' private affair. With us, it is Mr. Prigozin's private affair. This is my answer. Are you satisfied with that? And in fact, he went out of Russian at one point, and he went into German, and he said, put a cork in it. Let me finish. Let me say my answer. So Putin got pretty antsy, and he's, over the years and the limited amount of interviews that I've seen, because again, you really have to search for his interviews. They're not widely available unless you're looking for them. He does take control of his interviews. I think he's probably really, really hard to interview. So that was an interesting comment. He brought up Soros. Soros wants to do something volatile with the EU. Do your own research into what's going on. Try not to be too political in this. I want to keep it to educational purposes and how to make money in cryptos and a little bit about what's going on. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep level-minded, no matter whether you're on your left or the right or in the middle, or you don't care about politics. You just have to understand where they fit, what side they're on, and where their money is at. And when you can figure that out, you can figure out where the billions are going and when the trillions are going, and how the people at the top are moving the strings and how everything moves around. Because now they're talking about how, with the Italian government, the populist movement in Italy looks like they're going to be taking over, and there's a good chance that they're going to win their elections coming up, and they're going to try and pull away from the EU, and lower taxes and get away from the EU. And that seems to be the fear of the EU. And as soon as that happened, that's when we saw these bond rates spike and a default on Italian bonds spike. And a lot of the elites came out and said, well, they only talk to free markets when they want to, right? But they said, look what the markets are telling us. They're telling us as if the populist movement wins, they're going to default and they're going to send the whole world down. So no, Italy people, you can't vote for who say they win. You can't vote for whoever you want. You have to vote for the right people that won't into the EU and won't cause all this massacre and mess up in the EU. So we'll see what happens there. What has Bitcoin been doing during this whole EU massacre? And again, forgive me for all the lines. You know what? Let me just remove all the drawing tools, okay? We've had Chop. We've had Bart Simpson. We've had Chop. This is 15 minute. Let's go to 2 hours. After a prolonged, pullback, significant pullback. We did break out of that trend. We held. Okay, and we're going sideways. And now, this is actually, in my opinion, seeing price action like this, where we got a 200-point drop to then 30 minutes later hold, reversal hammer candle. God, say that 5 times fast. 2 hour to a 2 hour pump, and now we're at highs contending above the 2 hour all moving averages. And if you wanted to draw this, which is something that I had been drawing over the last couple days, let's draw a trend line. We're continuing with that, and actually on the 2 hour we're above this trend line. I mean, that's a bull break. In my opinion, it is very bullish, and it's hard to disagree with that. In fact, I think we're getting a move while we're on camera right now. So look at the volume coming in. That's what we want. That's what we've been waiting for. I think this could have been Italian news, could have been a way to blow some longs out, but we saw on the margin longs that they were actually adding to this. And now the shorts are getting squeezed and the shorts are getting blown out. So this is kind of what we were waiting for, and this is what we needed. We needed a reaction, a bullish reaction off of this pullback with authority to springshot us up and to get the bull count on Elliott Wave in our favor, which not everyone follows. It's more of an algo target, and the Fibonacci algo targets really have us going to 8,000 to 8,300 in that range, which is right around where the 4 hour, the 200-day is. It takes us up really where the 50-day, just under the 50 and 100-day, which is where the fib targets are. So if the bull count goes, that would be more of a I'm not going to say short-term target, but if you're talking about a 12-month time frame, that would be a short-month target, right? We got to get through the moving averages first. Of course, there's going to be more resistance. There's going to be resistance at 8K first. We might have a air gap up to 8K pretty quick. That might be a very quick move, and it's definitely on the table. We had this push up. We had a pullback. We had a reversal, and we're getting some volume coming in. And it's looking good. So why are we getting this reversal right now? Other than technicals, what else happened today? Let's see if I can find it. Okay, one big thing that happened. VanEck and SolidX joined forces to bring to market physically backed Bitcoin ETF. Agreement brings together two leaders in the digital asset space. Okay, this happened in the morning. As you can see, this news flash came out at 9:15 a.m. CoinDesk didn't pick up on it until much, much later. Okay, I think it was 11. Well, they wrote at 12. They wrote at 2:30. Did they not pick up on it until 2:30? Man, they were late on that. So if you only got your news from CoinDesk, the people who move the market knew about this way in advance, all right? But I think a lot of people, being that there's a lot of retail money in crypto, you may not have seen it until 2:30 or this afternoon. So huge announcement. Now, this is what we want, and this is something I give Data Dash credit to, that he said Bitcoin ETF by the end of the year. We're going to start hearing it again after the beginning of the year when a lot of the filings got turned down by the U.S. government. Well, they're trying again. This is VanEck and SolidX going out again. They're refiling, okay? They got denied back in the beginning of the year, and now they're trying again. They look to have this ETF expected to list on the the CBOE, and don't worry about this BZX, but big thing is the CBOE Equities Exchange is big. It's a big money. Okay? Now, if you haven't heard of VanEck, now me being a long-time trader, VanEck is a big boy. Well, go to VanEck's site and see if you're familiar with any of these ETFs. The big ones that you should know is the Gold Miners ETF, GDX. One of the most well-known, probably, if you want exposure to gold miners, you buy the VanEck GDX. You got the Juniors GDX ETF. Okay, they even have they have exposure to the commodity business with Moo. They've got OIH, the oil services holders. They've got the Russia ETF, which is really the only way to play Russia, which all the big boys use to play Russia. Okay, so they're not nobody. Okay. If you want to check them out, it's vaneck.com. Here's their website. But they do know what they're doing. So this isn't a nobody. So they got VanEck and they've got SolidX, and they've already figured out how to have cold storage and have the physical backed BTC behind it. So they're hoping that institutional investors will like this. They say, quote, "We believe that collectively we will build something that may be better than other constructs currently making their way through the regulatory process." What does that mean? It means that there are multiple ETFs still in the process. People want in this. They know that big money wants exposure to this in the ETF with physically backed BTC, and they want a part of this. They said, "I believe," this is the chief executive officer, the CEO of VanEck. This is... Quote, "I believe that Bitcoin has emerged as a legitimate investment option, as a type of digital gold that may make sense for investors' portfolios. The SolidX team has in-depth experience with Bitcoin, cryptography, and capital markets. We are pleased to join them in supporting the effort to bring a physically backed Bitcoin ETF to market." End quote. Incredible news. You know, it's not just, oh, we're hoping to launch it. No, this is, they filed it. They refiled it again with the SEC. And I'm sure this is going to be the first out of many that we're going to see. All right. What does this mean for Bitcoin prices? I mean, why are you probably listening and watching to this? It's what's going to provide right now. Think of the crypto market as a garden hose. All right. The money that can flow into the market, into crypto at any given time, is in a garden hose. That's how big. It doesn't get any bigger than that. Okay. There's only so much money, water, right, that can flow through, liquidity flow through to the crypto market. Adding a Bitcoin physically backed ETF is going to make the garden hose 50 times, 100 times bigger. It's going to be the actual water pipe underground that provides water to all the houses in the neighborhood. Okay? They have to buy and sell and hold. They actually have to hold more than sell, really, the BTC, which means there's only so much BTC on the market. There's scarcity involved with Bitcoin. So these ETFs have to buy it and hold it, just like GLD does. I don't have it up right now, but GLD is the ETF that the Spider Gold Trust that tracks gold, okay? And if you see if we can go far back, I think this is actually when gold, when it got it. So in 2005 is the data we have, and I believe that is 2004, 2005 is when this ETF was established. It brought liquidity into gold. Gold was much, much lower. And we got this insane bull run. It gave the liquidity for the gold market for the average investor to buy gold and hold it. And the GLD had to buy and had physical backed gold to support it. Okay? Huge move in gold. Yes, we had the financial crisis in 2008, the end of 2008, and then we had QE and the European debt crisis, and that boosted us all the way up to the all-time highs in gold. And this is gold's monthly chart for the last 13 years. Could the same happen for Bitcoin if the BTC ETF came out right around here? I'm not saying the exact thing, the exact upward move or the fact we went sideways for a year before it broke out means anything. This is another instrument, but all this is showing is that it allowed liquidity to come in the market, and it allowed prices to bid up. It allowed speculators at all levels to be involved in different ways and take derivatives on the futures market, because not everyone can trade futures. There's a lot of risk inherent in futures trading, and not everyone has a margin account to be able to go into futures trading and buy, even know how to hedge their exposure with buys and with calls and puts and different option strategies. So I think it is very bullish for BTC in the long term, and it's something that I think all of the big money expect ETFs to eventually come. Now, do we think that this blow off top back in December had, it was the futures, right? Well, there's a little bit more in there. Remember, NiceHash got hacked right around the first week of December. A lot of the hash rate came off, and a lot of the miners that, they didn't have access to a lot of the think about it as a gold miner couldn't sell their gold on the open market. The natural marginal seller of Bitcoin, not all of them, but a large portion of them, couldn't sell. So I always thought that helped boost prices, along with blue sky, parabolic, super hype move. Anyway, we got the blow off, right? And futures really helped. Like it was like, oh, we're getting futures, and next is Bitcoin ETF. Well, I don't think that this move priced in BTC ETF. I don't think it priced in the fact that volumes are higher now than they were last year. I don't think it priced in all of the regulatory developments across the entire world that we've had in the last 6 months. that we've had to just crawl through, okay? Just crawl through at a baby's pace while getting slaughtered on the downside and getting all of the supply out of the market, all right? People had to take profits. They had, we had tax season. Q1 is always really bad for Bitcoin. All of these bearish connotations that came out in Q1, they happened. I don't think this move priced in everything that Bitcoin could be. I don't think this priced in that BTC is digital gold. Gold is a $6 trillion market. We are nowhere near $6 trillion. Let's just do a quick refresh. Market cap right now, total, coinmarketcap.com, is $346 billion. Bitcoin is $131 billion with 37.8% market dominance. A long way away from 6 to 8 trillion that gold is expected to be, as far as 6 to 8 trillion that gold is. So, just think about that. I don't see BTC dominance staying at 38 because altcoins are gaining in popularity, and some projects deserve, right? Maybe BTC dominance goes down to 20%. So, what's 20% of 6 trillion? 1.2 trillion? That's 10 times for Bitcoin. That's 76,000 BTC if we were to get a 20% BTC dominance on a $6 trillion market. So that's something to keep in mind. How do people get these targets of 50,000, 100,000, 250,000? What does the market cap of all of crypto have to be in order for us to get a 50,000 or 75,000 Bitcoin? How do these people come to that? It's not just going to go to the moon and hey, 5 years from now, maybe it will. But what does that mean for the total market cap and the BTC dominance? Obviously, if BTC dominance is a little bit higher, we don't have to get 6 trillion for Bitcoin to be 75. We can be a little, much lower, maybe, do your own math on that. So remember how we get to those calculations. And it's not just going to be BTC that goes to 75,000. That's a 20x. That's a 20x on the market cap. What is that going to do to Ethereum? What is that going to do to Litecoin? What is that going to do to, what are we going to see with Bitcoin Cash, which we're going to bring up very shortly? And I think this video will go a little long today because I didn't make any videos for the last few days. I wanted some things to shake out. And I had a lot of traveling for business this week. But I wanted to really give a good video. I had recorded one yesterday and I just didn't like how it all unfolded. And I really wanted to prepare some good quality content because you guys deserve it. So remember to like this video and subscribe and tell your friends. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to make a comment below and I will definitely add it into the content. If you have a specific coin you want some TA on, please let me know in the comment below. So I find the market cap and price target analysis very interesting. How when someone says, oh, we're going to 100,000 Bitcoin, well, how do we get there? What has to happen in order for us to get to 100,000 Bitcoin? It doesn't just happen. There has to be, that's a long-term thesis, and several things have to take place in order for us to get there. And I think the beginnings of the next bull move are taking place. We are witnessing them. What did we have? We had the blow off top. Crypto got on the map. Because before, last year, no one knew what cryptocurrency was. No one knew what cryptocurrency was, okay? The people who had really been following it, you were a very small minority back there a couple years ago, and you made a lot of money if you held, or if you're still holding. Congratulations. You had the ability to do your own research, figure it out, and see the future, and know that this is the potential that it has. And that's something I love about capitalism, that You can do your own research, and I highly recommend all of you guys out there to do so. Spend some time each week, do some homework on whatever stocks you own in your 401k or what you're investing in. Listen to the earnings reports. Listen to the CEOs. I don't know what your thoughts are on Jim Cramer, Mad Money, but read some of his books like Real Money. Listen to how markets work from his perspective of being a hedge funder for 20 years. I have to say, I read that book in 08, Real Money. Changed my life. Changed my life on how I viewed the markets. I suddenly could understand for the first time why things move the way they do. Highly recommend it. Whether you like Jim Cramer or not, if you have any, if you're uncertain about market forces or why things move or cyclical moves in the market or seasonality of markets, and it's fascinating. And he goes through all of his major mess ups, owns it completely, and the lessons he learned from it. Really neat, really neat. That's stocks and equities, but it's capitalism. And my whole point around this is doing your own research, getting involved. Those people who did their own research years ago and they heard about Bitcoin and this doesn't even go all the way back, but they got rewarded. And you know what? There's still very, very few people in crypto right now. In fact, a lot of people got burned in this move down. This move put Bitcoin and crypto on the stage for everyone. I think everyone probably has now heard Bitcoin. They may still not, they definitely don't know what it is still. They just know that it was going up and I needed to buy it, right? And still, all the exchanges shut down because they couldn't handle the inflow of cash. Well, they've spent the last 6 months, all of the exchanges, upgrading their system so that they can handle this on the next go around. Okay? So, what did this prepare us for? It prepared us for the future. It got exchanges in line, ready to go. It put cryptos on the map. It put blockchain on the map and said, hey, Jamie Dimon and other people who are, disbelieving in the blockchain, it is happening. Now we have Walmart. We have IBM. Every big company out there, Fortune 500 company, worth their muster, who wants to survive is getting into the blockchain. They have to. We saw ICOs go crazy in this time, and they're still going crazy. It is an incredible time in crypto. All right, got it on the map, changed big companies in the capitalist system towards blockchain, a better trustless system, making things more efficient. We then got the regulatories around the world. We started to get clarity. We got the SEC and CFTC coming out saying that, you know what, we want to regulate the market, but we believe in crypto and we believe that it is the future. We didn't get in the way of the internet. We're not getting in the way of cryptocurrencies. We believe this is the future of finance, and we are excited to have it. Recently, in an article, the SEC chairman, I believe it was a chairman, clarified to make sure everyone knew what he said, that, quote, Bitcoin is not a security and that it can be used in place of all major fiat currencies. Where was the news alert on that one, guys? I mean, I don't have the article for you, but I read that today, all right? That's what they said today. We had that announcement. We had the BTF physical-backed Bitcoin refiling announcement, which I'm sure we're going to hear about 5 or 6 more. That's probably enough juice to get us out of this downturn and up into the next wave of the bull market. That's regulation, right? We're having adoption. More and more people are using it. Think about Litecoin. We're getting a lot of adoption with Litecoin, right? The Abra, you can pay. There's the Coinbase debit card. There's these other credit card and debit cards that are going into paying with cryptos. We have the development finally of Lightning Network on BTC, and there's more developments. And I'm going to do a video in a later time of the roadmap for BTC, because I don't think anyone knows the roadmap. They don't talk about it ever. They don't talk about all the cool things that are coming down the road that they're working on. And so these are the long-term thesis of what people who hold BTC for the next 5 years are looking for and waiting for. And they're not going to sell until they see stuff like this actually come into the market and be priced properly. And don't forget, we have the halving in Bitcoin in a year and a half. Do you think that, honestly, my opinion, I don't see us being anywhere below where we are in the next year and in a year and a half for the halving. I think we're going to be way, 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 way higher. Way, 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 way higher. So we then had the pullback, which we needed. We held. We have a potential Italian debt crisis, which could bring down the EU. Not saying that that's going to happen, but that is now in a suicide apocalypse hedge to be in crypto. We have the growing understanding of citizens, of people all around the world, saying that I don't want a hyperinflated currency. Think Venezuela. Think different African countries. Think different Asian countries. People are taking their money and wanting to make sure that the government doesn't continually inflate it. Fiat currency. And they're putting into cryptos. And do you think that the worldwide $346 billion is all we're worth? No, it's not. Should it be in the trillions? Absolutely. So now we're just in a technical, we were in a no man's land. We're in a holding pattern. And it's looking better and better by the day. And the longer that we go sideways, as I tell some of my friends, when in December, when I was telling my friends, I was like, take profits, move up your stops, don't hurt yourself, if you want to take trades on the long side, do so. But, they're trades at this point. We've had a parabolic move. It's unsustainable. We've now had the pullback. We've now had a chance for the sellers to get out. Anyone who couldn't hold got out. The weak hands got out, and the institutions started to accumulate. We then got big time hedge funders come in, big time billionaires, and the big time money, old money in the world, like the Rockefellers, come in and say that they're now in crypto. Even George Soros said he's in crypto. Now George Soros said that maybe he's doing something in Europe. We'll see. I don't know what his book is. I mean, I know with this fund you can see what his long and shorts are, but there's so many stocks in his portfolio, it's pretty difficult to really see what's going on there publicly. So yeah, if we hold here, the longer we go sideways, the longer we constrict this volatility after such a parabolic move, with all the good fundamentals down the road, none of it has been priced in. 3 years ago, Bitcoin was under $100. It was under $1,000. It went to 20,000. 3 years from now, what if 7,500 or 7,663 3 years from now was like $100 a year, 3 years before now in 2015, 2014? Think about that for a second. What if in 3 years from now we're looking at 250,000 Bitcoin? Think about that. I'm not saying that Bitcoin couldn't crash tomorrow or, go down to 5,000 or go down to 1,000. It could. It's going to do whatever it wants. All I can report on is hold the faith and hodl to your particular needs based on what you believe. All I can do is share my opinion and bring forth some fundamentals, some news, and mix it in with technicals to give us the best idea of where we're going to go. And right now, the technicals are saying that we're holding. We're still neutral to bearish because we're under long-term moving averages, but we're showing that we can hold a triple bottom. And until we make a new low below 7,000, I'm going to continue having this bullish bias. If we make a low below 7,000, it's the short term is going to turn very bearish. And so we are very close. We're only 10% away from that potentially happening. So it's definitely a keep it on the radar. But I believe with the BTC ETF being refiled and launching, we've got the Bittrex news where they're opening up fiat to 200 altcoins, I believe it is. We've got Coinbase going into Japan to add another fiat gateway into Japan. Japanese markets, I believe, are the #1 biggest crypto market. Next is South Korea. There's a lot. We also have the Coinbase institutional products coming in. We have to have millions and millions of dollars of buying in. They have their own ETF index that buys the coins for you. There is a lot of liquidity that's going to be coming into the market in the next 6 months. So much so, we haven't seen anything yet. And remember, last year in May, where the hell were we? 2,000? 2,500? 2,000? We went up 10x. I'm not saying that's going to happen this year. We saw, to 10x here, we saw what the market cap would do, 1.3 trillion in crypto. That's a big move, right? Think about, was anybody back in May expecting a move to 20K? No, most people were saying, oh, it would be amazing if we got to 5K. Most conservative estimates for Bitcoin this year are 20 to 25,000. 20 to 30,000 is what a large spectrum of people believe. The most bullish estimates are 50 to 75K by the end of the year. And the bearish estimates are anywhere between 6K and 4K. So if you were to make a 6-month bet and knowing that you only had maybe 20% downside and 1,000% upside, would you be shorting right now? Would you be selling right now? No. My opinion, not financial advice. So I really wanted to cover that. I think it's important that we remind ourselves what's going on and pay attention to news. With that, I'm going to quickly run through some of the other charts. Now, still a big fan of Litecoin. It's still very weak. It's hanging on. A lot of these charts are very similar. It's below all moving averages. Bitcoin Cash, it's flagging up here after the move. It did come off its bottom pretty well. It's hammering on the daily right now. It actually looks pretty good. I'd like to see it to get above 1,200 for its next move. I think it would put its next move to this downtrend around 1,500. And in fact, it would then put the reverse head and shoulders into play, which would, my target takes us up to about 2,800, anywhere from 25 to 2,800 if we get back above 1,800. Remains to see if that's going to happen. Some fundamental news I wanted to bring up real quick on Bitcoin Cash. There was a tweet that went out. The amount of hash rate that was added to the Bitcoins in blue, this is hash rate in the last 3 months. And you can get this on bitinfocharts.com. The amount of hash rate that was added to the Bitcoin network in the last couple days is double the entire hash rate of Bitcoin Cash. So if you were to look at network security and who's really using Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, okay, there was a 10% increase in Bitcoin Cash since the last day, and there was a Bitcoin percentage-wise was like, almost 20%. But compared to the Bitcoin Cash hash rate, it was 2 times the hash rate of Bitcoin Cash that Bitcoin added. And you can actually see that we've been stuck all May with a little bit of an uptick, and then just recently in June, the hash rate exploded. Usually when hash rate goes up, we do see a rise in price. However, you can make the argument over the last 6 months, hash rate since January has been trending in a linear pattern going up. We just recently took a parabolic move. And what did Bitcoin price do in this time? It hasn't gone anywhere, right? It's gone down to sideways. So until we see price starting to go up, we're not going to see too much. But when we had the breakout, look how much hash rate has been added to the network, just real quick. Since September, we had 7.08 E, which it's a very high computing power. I'll do another video on what E is, but it's a lot. And now we're at 42. That's 6 times. The network security and hash rate on Bitcoin network in the last 9 months, call it, in the last 9 months has gone up 6 times. You think if people didn't believe in Bitcoin, they would continually add more miners to the network? F no. This tells you anything, means that big money believes. And the more hash rate we get, the more secure it is. So this is why Bitcoin is king. There is no other coin out there that's even close to this hash rate. Even close to this hash rate. Okay? And these little blips in the radar, that was during, the Bcash announcements, if you will. And it just completely went away from it, never to return again. Oh boy. So going back to the majors, Ethereum, what are we doing here? We're still in a holding pattern, but again, high and tight inside bar. We're still on the daily below the 50-day, which is providing resistance. If we can get above 611, 615, we'll see a move up to 656. We do have some upward sloping moving averages, but we are below them. So that is going to be some resistance on the way up. We're going to have to contend with, but it's good that after this move, we are consolidating and allowing us to blow off overbought, get the bulls ready maybe in the next 2 days to contend with this downtrend, which maybe it's going to be tomorrow. Okay, and maybe this is going to be the pump that gets us up to the 750 area. What's Golem been doing? Well, I'll tell you what, Golem, it's been a wild ride. It's the 5-minute. It is still consolidating in this bull flag. We did see the reversal with everything else, had a nice little move up. Maybe this is going to be enough to get us back up to 60 cents or back up maybe on the 3-hour, the 50-day moving average around 60 cents. Yeah. All in all, still okay, still healthy. Again, all cryptos pulled back in this time. Golem still looking better than a lot of other things out there. I'm still very bullish on Golem. And the fact that we haven't given up the entire move, extremely bullish. In fact, we're getting support on the moving averages on 3-hour. Let's go to the daily. On the daily, we're above all. We're contending with the 50-day right now, but that's okay. If we really are going to get this June rocket moon mission to Sagittarius A, stage 1 rockets have just ignited. So that's going to bring everything up. Just remember that. Bitcoin Cash we did look at. I still like the chart in Bitcoin Cash. A lot of people are not bullish on it. What are your opinion on BTC or Bcash? I think it's okay to own both. You never know. And we've gone into that argument before. Zcash has been very weak, surprisingly very weak. Not sure. Zcash normally acts by itself. I've noticed since I've been following it the last year and a half. It'll move by itself without anything else going on. Like, it'll have a bull move when nothing else is going up. But But remember, we got the Gemini listing with Zcash and fiat, and that gave it the pump. It's still holding above its April lows. It's actually, you could say, arguably doing better than Bitcoin. It's still below all moving averages. We want to see it get back up above the moving averages. And I did see one long-term chart today. If you go all the way back since initiation, it's riding, it's near the bottom of the upward trend channel. And every time it's hit the bottom of the channel, the upward channel, it's made a move back up to the top, and which puts it actually indicated that Zcash could be at 4,000 to 4,500 by the end of the year. What insane move that would be. Okay, and I mean, we've also got targets of Litecoin that are 1,000 to 1,500 by the end of the year, and the most bullish case is 3,000 by the end of the year. And remember, we've got NASDAQ who wants to have Litecoin ETF and Litecoin futures, physical backed Litecoin futures, just like Ethereum, just like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's first, and it doesn't stop there. We've also got another phenomenal news I wanted to say was Fidelity came out, I think, this morning, and said that they want to get into the crypto game, and they're starting the procedures, and they've looked in and they want to be involved, and they want to provide cryptos to their customers. This whole big flow of money, cryptos are not the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. I think I was looking at some stat, there's like 80 trillion in stocks. Cryptos are 360 billion. Are you kidding me? If it's, gold is an asset class of 6 to 8 trillion, cryptos are going to be at least 6 to 8 trillion. Maybe it takes a year, maybe it takes 3 years, 4 years from now. I believe cryptos are here to stay. Now, there may not be 1,500 of them. Maybe in 10 years there's only like 50 cryptos that, really have solid projects. But at least there's innovation in fintech and the blockchain, and we're seeing it. And people now believe the blockchain is real, because it is. They understand what it is now, the big money, and they're all pumping money into it, and they're sucking all of the top talent away from finance and other big areas, and they're going into cryptocurrency. I believe the next 2 years in cryptocurrency are going to be incredible. Yes, I'm highly invested as a miner and an investor in crypto, but those are the reasons why I am. I see an insanely bright future, and any time that we get some massive pullback, think to yourself, your family, your situation, ask your financial advisor, who probably is against crypto, but if he is okay, he'll probably say, hey, 1 or 2% of your investable net assets, investable assets, that's okay. And even Tom Lee, Fundstrat guy, who says, who's been one of the best analysts of Bitcoin, who has a target of 25,000 by the year, has said it's okay to have a 1 or 2% allocation. And he says that's all he actually says. And he's like, we're not there yet, guys. I mean, there's people who say we should have, with gold at 6 trillion, we have a 1% allocation of gold in investors' portfolios, and we have a $6 trillion gold market. Wow. You think we're really at 1 or 2% of everyone's portfolios? No. Do we have pension funds buying cryptos and Bitcoin right now? No. They bought freaking they bought credit default swaps and subprime mortgages back in the day, but they won't buy crypto? Not even a small allocation? Just think to yourself. What's Stellar doing? Stellar actually looks better than the other ones we were looking at. So came in, but it's holding. I think it's about on par with Bitcoin. Contending with that 100-day moving average. It is below all moving averages on the daily. So it's providing some resistance, but, maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe we're going to start to ride back up to 35 cents. EOS says since the mainlet has pretty much been getting crushed, there was a very tradable move here off the wedge break, but we've been flagging. So We're going to see what happens here on EOS. It's kind of a wait and see, really. Talked about Zcash. Here's Monero. There is full ledger support for Monero now, but it's still very weak, very far below moving averages, and it's wedging down here at the absolute low for the year. So, is it the low for the year? Yeah, I mean, it's sitting on lows. It bounced off lows, and it's hanging out very close to it. I think it's one of the weaker charts, but has a potential. It's, possibly is trying to bottom. ZRX, still one of the stronger charts. We might look back at the end of the year and say, geez, I could have bought ZRX at $1. I don't own any. Block has been the outperform. Look at this daily. Oh my God. We came up to the 200-day, got resistance. We came all the way down, had this massive sell-off, $6. Something like, 30% on the downside, and then straight rocket ship right back up. Block has some big money behind it. We need to watch this downtrend. If it gets above 200, I mean, this is one of the strongest charts out there right now. So definitely keep Block on the radar. I don't have a position. It would have been. I've been thinking about a position the last month and a half. I just haven't been able to pull the trigger, and every time I don't pull the trigger, it just launches on me. So that's crypto for you. But there will always be a pullback. Do your own research on what Block does, and make your own decision. Real quick, the euro. This is the daily on the euro. We're getting a 50-day crossing over the 200-day. That's a death cross. Just saying. Just saying. I haven't heard anything about this cross yet, so we'll see. Obviously, we've had a bounce off the lows. A couple cents has been pretty nice, but look where the euros come from. It had a pretty nice pullback. It's trying to hold higher at prior resistance is now support. Maybe what we're going to see is a little bit, couple weeks into the summer months, we're going to get maybe a right shoulder form. 121. Maybe they'll front run it at 120. 120 is probably going to be really hard to get above. But anywhere from 119 to 121, maybe over the next 2 or 3 months, maybe a right shoulder comes in. And then 125 to 115 would put us back down to 105 at the lows. That would be very, very bearish. In fact, look at all this prior support here. It's now resistance that we broke through and was a breakout failure. This could just be an oversold bounce. Maybe we get a couple more weeks into these moving averages. We've got the death cross, and then we're coming right back down. And it's not good. In fact, every time we've come up close to this trend line, look what happened last time. Look at the same time, 2014 in May. Look at that. Whoa. June. Had a little bit of bounce in June. And then from, I'm not saying this is going to happen again, but over the next 9 months, I mean, look what the euro did. Fell 30%. So think about Italy. Think about everything that's going on in Europe right now with the euro. All right, so I hope all of you who sticked around and listened to the video, I hope this gave a good overview of what's going on and my ideas and thoughts on the market, and hopefully put it into something that made it more easy for you to understand. And maybe there's a lot of veterans out there watching this video, if you're still watching. Maybe you already knew this, and maybe it's just something good to hear that, the stuff that you're listening to and watching and been reading, that it's positive, it's good things. Again, the longer that Bitcoin goes sideways here and volatility constricts, the bigger the breakout is going to be. Whether that's up to the downside, I think all the fundamental news and all the positive regulation news that's coming, all the big money that's ready to flood in as the market grows. I mean, more money that floods into crypto, the higher it's going to go. Plain and simple. So with that, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday evening. And hodl on. Let's see what happens. Pay attention. Be smart. Be kind. And be amazing. Toxic Crypto out.